Jazz farms up, looks to make the surf catch onto Volcarona. Surf will hit for super effective, but we save Avalugg for the endgame. The opponent now sends out Landorus looking to farm up. The opponent allows us to reach a charge move, and Old Trainer, that's going to be a mistake. Welcome back to the channel. Today is the final day of the Open Master League. However, we're still going to get one more video out there because my faction's captain, Jazz, has submitted some insane spice. We have got a level 51 maxed out Volcarona. Yes, really, we're about to see this in the Master League and I cannot wait. Team partners today are going to be another very spicy pick in the form of Annihilape and Hissuli Avalugg. Without any further ado, let's get into the battles. And in game 1, Jazz leads Hissuli Avalugg into new top meta threat Landorus. Our target has been acquired. The opponent say switch into BDD, a Pokemon most people call Best Buddy Dialga. However, on this channel, it's known as the basic bitch tin can. Jazz has a very nice response in his form of Annihilape. We shield once, we then look for the full counter farm down, and we get it before the opponent reaches to the next charge move. The opponent can't return with Landorus as we have access to double super effective Ice Punch. The opponent instead send out Mewtwo. We go straight for the Shadow Ball, forcing the opponent's first Protect Shield. And Annihilape says there's plenty more of where that come from. Fires off Shadow Ball, number 2, and the opponent is now all shields down. Jazz can now send out Volcarona, hopefully use it as a damage sponge. I'm going to say hopefully as I have no idea if this thing can tank a hit. That wasn't too bad. Let's give this little bug some credit where credit's due. Despite Jazz grinding Volcarona for many months, it is literally used as the damage sponge and it's straight in and straight out. Jazz putting all his hopes and dreams on the back of Avalugg. The opponent attempt to make an Icy Wind catch. Jazz says not today, trainer, over farms. Fires off the Icy Wind before Landorus even makes a charge move. Hi Landorus, bye Landorus, back out. Comes Mewtwo. Mewtwo does win the charge move priority event. But Jazz still with a Protect Shield, too high behind, shields up the side strike. Returns fire with the Rock Slide. Rock Slide isn't quite lethal, but Avalugg gets the Powder Snow farm down, and we're off to a 1-0 start. In the next battle, we see the Hissuli Avalugg mirror. Due to Rock being such a dreadful defensive type in, we do take super effective from Rock. Jazz not willing to shield the first move, and the opponent goes for a very silly bait, killing a poor defenseless cat in the process. Jazz full sends the Rock Slide, and despite the debuff, it still lands some decent damage. Jazz able to farm up, winning the charge move priority event, landing Rock Slide, number 2, getting Hissuli Avalugg, or at least the opponent's Avalugg, into the red. Surely this time the opponent doesn't go for any silly masturbating antics. They do not. They land the Rock Slide. Jazz absorbs the damage, then snipes of an Annihilape, drawing out Palkia. Jazz farms up to the Shadow Ball. This time goes for a cheeky masturbating session of his own, landing the Ice Punch bait. Jazz putting on a masturbating clinic out here in battle number 2. Palkia still going to need to Draco Meteor to secure the knockout. Jazz again hanging on to them Protect Shields, calls the Aqua Tail and returns fire with the Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball rocks Palkia deep into the red, and this time it's the opponent that goes for the snipe, sending out what else other than basic bitch Dialga. However, we've got a pretty decent answer in the form of Volcarona. I can't believe I'm saying this, but this Iron Head will be resisted, but Jazz with 2 Protect Shields going to start investing them here. Jazz not wanting to lower his own attack, going to fire off the Bug Buzz bait, looking to put shield pressure on the opponent. The opponent does invest that final Protect Shield, but we're rapidly running out of HP. Jazz going to shield up the next Iron Head. We're going to be able to nuke this Dialga with an overheat, which will be massive overkill as they're in the red. Does Avalugg have enough HP remaining to survive an Aqua Tail? Oof, it's going to be close. Hissuli Avalugg deep in the red. Aqua Tail isn't the best move, but unfortunately Jazz is going to take the loss. GG's to that opponent. Heading into the next battle, we see Hissuli Avalugg into yet another Dialga. These battles were played between 28 and 2900 ELO. So this pretty much tells you how stale the meta is, as everyone's using the very same few Pokemon, unless you're Jazz running that spice. Hissuli Avalugg not particularly bad in this matchup, as due to Dialga's Dragon Steel typing, all our Ice type damage does hit for neutral. We take neutral from the Dragon Breaths, but the Iron Head would be double super effective. So for Avalugg to hang out with this big tin can, we need Protect Shields too high behind, or you need the ability to make a savage Iron Head catch onto your fire type. The opponent sends out Landorus into our Volcarona. The opponent goes straight for a Sancia Storm, which is only neutral, whereas the Stone Edge would be double super effective. That is, in my opinion, a massive mistake, especially as the opponent has shield advantage. That is going to allow Volcarona to make a charge move. The opponent, actually like a savage, call the Bug Buzz bait, but even that Bug Buzz and the Fire Spins have got this glassy Landorus into the red. The opponent's miscalculation Means they're forced to dump another charge move. We send back at Avalugg. Avalugg gets a very nice Powder Snow farm down. The opponent waiting out the clock. They send back out Dialga. We pivot into Annihilape, drawing out the Master League edition of the Kentucky Fried Chicken Bird of Death. Jazz goes straight for the Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball lands, rocking Ho-Oh down below half health. Jazz still one Protect Shield, too high behind, and he's going to invest it here. Ho-Oh unable to double up on charge. They fire off the Brave Bird, lowering their own defense. Jazz throws 2 counters and the Ice Punch for optimal fast move time, and Ice Punch forces the opponent's final Protect Shield. They are going to take us out with a Brave Bird. However, Jazz might be able to get the full Powder Snow farm down. Can we farm down before the end of the second Incinerate? Jazz gets the perfect farm down. Leaves with the charge move. Is Icy Wind enough to knock out Dialga? Who was worried? And Jazz takes the dub. GG's and thanks for playing. In the next battle, we see another Landorus in the lead. It's here, there, and every fucking where. The opponent save switches into Giratina, which is by no means a good Avalugg answer. We fire off the Icy Wind lands, getting Giratina down below half health. We see Jazz respect the potential Shadow Ball as the opponent is already debuffed. They force him the Shadow Ball. Avalugg now able to outpace the Icy Wind number 2, and this will be securing the knockout or forcing a shield. The opponent, as they're debuffed, completely sack Giratina. We know Landorus won't be returning due to them taking double super effective from Ice. The opponent sends out their third, which is Xerneas. Jazz goes straight for the Icy Wind, once again applying that very annoying debuff effect. However, no debuff will be saving us from this double super effective close combat. The opponent lowers their own defense, so we send out Annihilape. Jazz farming up energy. Looks like we attempted to catch a close combat onto our bug type. The opponent hold their energy and pivot out into Landorus. As the opponent still has 2 Protect Shield, Jazz fires off the Bug Buzz bait, forcing the opponent's first Protect Shield. This opponent farms up to a Stone Edge with an instant no shield deployed and get wrecked Volcarona. Sorry, Jazz. It's now all down to Annihilape. Jazz goes straight for the double super effective Ice Punch, securing the knockout. Back out comes Xerneas. Jazz looking to call the bait as that's pretty much his only win con. The opponent falls in the Moonblast and take that game. In the next battle, our Rock Ice Table picks up a great lead into Giratina. The opponent save switch into Zacian, and stay in school, kids. Learn to count. Have we caught the close combat? Jazz, you absolute savage. The opponent not a fan of that play, and they're instantly going to concede the match. Oh, hello Landorus. Nice to see you nice. The opponent save switches into Mewtwo. The team doesn't really have a great Mewtwo answer, so Jazz is going to shield up the first side strike and look to fire off the Icy Wind, which will of course lower their defense. This has got a 100% chance. Icy Wind and Sancia Storm, the move that everyone's super horny for in Landorus, are essentially the same move. Jazz this time goes to the rock side that does hit for more damage. The opponent farms up a boatload of energy, holy crap, and try to nuke us with the double super effective Focus Blast. Jazz, recognising the opponent dumped all their energy, goes for an undercharge, and what a peach of an undercharge that was. We get the perfect farm down. Mewtwo dies with the charge move. Out comes Kyogre, that is switch locked, so we see the instant pivot into Annihilape. We go straight for the Shadow Ball, which goes shielded. This Kyogre's a huge core breaker for the remainder of our team. If the opponent just go for a Surf, Annihilape might survive. Oh shit, Origin Pulse, we definitely aren't surviving. Back out comes Avalugg. We throw 1 Powder Snow and the Rock Side for optimal fast move time. Rock Side goes unshielded. Jazz recognising even an Icy Wind will be lethal from this stage. Opts to throw the Icy Wind, forcing the opponent's final Protect Shield. We then make another savage catch, catching the Surf onto Volcarona. As it's debuffed, I was going to say it didn't do all that much damage, but it still hurt. Out comes Landorus. The opponent looking to overfarm, allow us to reach the OV. Hi Landorus, bye Landorus, get absolutely wrecked. Kyogre only gets a 2 Waterfall farm down, and 1 Powder Snow is enough to take that game. Very well played. In the next battle, Jazz leads his Ice Table into Palkia. Not the best matchup, but not the worst. We've got the ability to go for the Icy Wind, which will be lowering Palkia's attack and hitting for neutral. However, Aqua Tail, despite not being the best move, does hit for super effective and only costs 35 energy. Jazz shields the first Aqua Tail despite being debuffed and returns fire with Icy Wind number 2, applying a 2-stage debuff to Palkia. Palkia once again doesn't shield. The opponent sends out Zacian. Again we look to make the close combat catch, but this opponent shows far more discipline. Hold their energy. Moment of truth. Do they have Wild Charge? Of fucking course they do, because why wouldn't they? We see Jazz invest the final Protect Shield. Zacian now have a 4-stage lower defense. However, it still doesn't look like we're going to be able to fire spin farm all the way down. So Jazz over farms, fires off the Bug Buzz goes unshielded. Back out comes Palkia. Palkia doesn't commit to the Dragon Breath farm down. It looks like the opponent just putting all the hopes and dreams on whatever they've got in the back. We send out Annihilate, the opponent pivot out into Solgaleo with 2 Protect Shields, and they even say that Palkia has a potential 3rd shield. Jazz full sends the Shadow Ball, which of course the opponent does respect. I'll be honest, I'm not really seeing a win con, but I'm never going to write Jazz off. Let's see if he pulls off some magic. We tank the Psychic Fangs, pivot back out into Avalugg, but unfortunately we're completely walled due to the Psychic Steel typing. However, Jazz, unlike me, is undeterred and going to start firing off as many debuffs as he physically can. Despite Icy Wind being resisted, it is starting to lower their health. The opponent needs a full send the 9-head to secure the knockout, which they do. Back out comes Annihilate. The opponent smartly reset their debuff, sending back out Palkia. Palkia dies to 1 counter. The opponent fires off the Psychic Fang, and 1 more fire spin is enough to take that game. Next up, we got the battle of the ice types, very much in favour of Avalugg due to us resisting ice and Mamoswine taking neutral. We go straight for the Icy Wind. Icy Wind goes unshielded, and the opponent then send out Mewtwo. Once again, Jazz gonna have to stay in as this team is so weak to Mewtwo. However, with Mewtwo out the way, the rest of the team does really well into Mamoswine. We're triple good into that, so let's just try and get rid of this top tier threat. Jazz fires off the Icy Wind. The opponent this time doesn't commit to the Focus Blast. We're going to see Jazz take the debuff Side Strike, and ouch, that hurts. Mewtwo really does hit like a truck. Jazz fires off yet another Icy Wind. Icy Wind goes unshielded. Can we get the farm down? Oof. It looks like Jazz just happy to 2-shield through Mewtwo. Leave with residual energy. We actually exit with an Icy Wind. Does the opponent send back out Mamoswine? Yes, they do. So Jazz once again going to fire off the very annoying debuff. Icy Wind is so annoying. The opponent even respect it with a Protect Shield. I imagine even debuffed and Avalanche going to be easily enough to knock out the opponent, not taking any chances. Full send the high horsepower and pivot out into Dragonite. Not that Volcarona has all that many good matchups in the Master League, as it's ranked 196 by PV Poke. This one's dreadful as we're fully walled, but both Bug Buzz and Overheat are 2 big nukes. Bug Buzz gets Dragonite below half health, and we see the pivot into Annihilate. Jazz not messing around, going straight for the Ice Punch, looking to force the final Protect Shield, and he does. The opponent do us a favour, throwing on alignment. The Dragon Claw won't be lethal. The opponent is going to be forced to dump 1 further Dragon Claw. Judging by the damage the last one did, this one should be lethal. It actually just about isn't. The opponent then make a very heads up play, sniping us with Mamoswine. Back out comes Volcarona, and Volcarona eats the resisted Avalanche to the face, and unfortunately we take the loss. Moving on to the next one. Would you believe it, another Landorus. This opponent choosing to stay in. Surely if you're going to run something double weak to ice, you've got 2 ice type counters in the back. As the opponent stayed in, Jazz invests that Protect Shield, and the opponent pivot out into Mewtwo. This is now very rough, as we don't have the most damage output, especially when we're debuffed from the Sansia Storm. This time Jazz pivots out into Volcarona to answer Mewtwo. Side Strike, even after debuff, does over half of our health. Jazz desperately wanting to keep alignment, keeping Avalugg onto Landorus, invest the Protect Shield. We're not going to be able to Fire Spin farm down, so he throws 1 Fire Spin and the Bug Buzz for optimal fast move time, and the opponent take their 2-0 shield advantage and send back out Landorus. Landorus over farming, allowing us to reach the overheat, and this should at least force a shield back, which it does. Surely this opponent isn't going to farm us down. Jazz, not wanting to get farmed down, pivots back out into Avalugg, and Avalugg is met with a Sansia Storm. The opponent's final Pokemon is Dialga. Okay, this is playable. We fire off the Icy Wind, lowering Dialga's attack. Can we make 1 more Icy Wind? Yes, we can. With a 2-stage lowered attack, does that allow Annihilate to survive a Draco? There's only one way to find out. Come on, Annihilate. Please be thick, buddy. Annihilate giving away almost 1000 CP. Easily tanks the Draco. Let's go 8. Annihilate gets the full counter farm down. Back out comes Landorus. We fire off the Ice Punch. Ice Punch will be forcing the final Protect Shield. The opponent then dump the Sansia Storm. Can Volcarona Fire Spin farm down? Come on, buddy. Let's go, Volcarona. Let's go, Volcarona. Who was worried? And Jazz takes the dub. In the next battle, we see Kyogre in the lead. How the hell do we beat a Kyogre in the lead? We pivot into Annihilape, which is pretty much our one Kyogre answer. The opponent do us a favour, staying in. Jazz gonna shield up the incoming Surf. The opponent then pivots out into Groudon. Groudon is going to be greeted with the super effective Ice Punch, but Ice Punch isn't a very good move and essentially just tickles. Jazz this time going for the Hail Mary, full sending the Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball goes unshielded, leaving Groudon deep in the red. Is this enough for a Precipice Blades? Jazz gonna respect it, it's just a Fire Punch, but Jazz happy to 2-shield in the mid game. Back out comes Kyogre. And Jazz again, going for that Hail Mary. Trainer, it's just an Ice Punch. I promise it's just an Ice Punch. Shadow Ball sneaks through. Trainer, you have no idea how good this Kyogre is against the remainder of our team. The opponent pivots out into Rhyperior. And we're going straight for the Icy Wind. Icy Wind forces a Protect Shield. We see Jazz attempt to use Volcarona as the third shield to absorb this energy. Oh god, they're on Rock Wrecker. No, Volcarona's about to meet the same fate. Jazz farms up. Fires off the Bug Buzz, but the opponent's definitely going to shield this, and we're about to get nuked. Bug Buzz does, of course, force the opponent's final Protect Shield. Hi, Volcarona. Bye, Volcarona. Jazz evidently sees the funny side of it, takes the screenshot for the road, and we're going to move swiftly on. In the next battle, you guessed it, another Landorus. Holy cow, this thing's everywhere. This one is again staying in. They likely chip and dip. Jazz shields up the Sunseer Storm. The opponent continued to stay in. Just the Powder Snows have got on below half health. Jazz overfarms. Fires off the Icy Wind. Icy Wind forces a Protect Shield back. The opponent doesn't build up to the Stone Edge, so we see the instant no shield from Jazz. Even debuff that Sunseer Storm did a lot. As we've had our attack lowered by 2 stages, Jazz not going to be able to Powder Snow farm down. Opts to throw the Icy Wind. The opponent sends out Melmetal and we see the pivot into Annihilape. The opponent's final Pokemon is Dragonite. How much does an Ice Punch do? From Annihilape, Ice Punch goes unshielded, and despite being a trash move, it does land for heavy damage. If Jazz can force the final Protect Shield somehow for this opponent, we're going to be able to boom that ever annoying Tin Can with the overheat. We fire off the next Ice Punch. Ice Punch goes shielded. I'm sure you all know what's about to happen. Dragonite gets the full Dragon Breath farm down, but Jazz does not care. We send out Volcarona. There's one Fire Spin. The opponent needs to pivot. The opponent actually give us the full Fire Spin farm down. Back out comes Melmetal. All we've got to do is shield up whatever they throw. They might bait with a double Iron Bash, which they do, but no bait. We'll be saving this opponent's fate. We've got the overheat locked and loaded. Get that Melmetal out of here. And Volcarona ends the video in style with a big boom. Huge shout out to Jazz for an incredibly spicy battle submission. That was so much fun. So if you're enjoying the content, smash that like button. If you're new, consider subscribing. If you like your battles featured on my channel, a link to my battle submission form is down below. And as always, thanks for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.